So today we are covering Surds. Surds have three main topics included. They are simplifying, expanding brackets, and finally rationalizing. So we'll first start with simplifying. In order to understand how to simplify, we must understand the multiplication rule, and this is when root a times b is equal to the square root of a times by the square root of b. So I will now do an example with you guys. The first example will be square root of 36. This can be written as square root of 9 times by 4. Using the rule, we can split this up into square root of 9 times by the square root of 4. As we know, the square root of 9 is equal to 3 and the square root of 4 is equal to 2. Our answer will be 3 times by 2, so we get 6. We will now move on to the second example, and this will be square root of 320. This can be written as square root of 32 times by 10. We can simplify this further, as 32 can be written as 16 times by 2 and 10 can be written as 2 times by 5. So using the multiplication rule again, we can simplify this into 16 times by 4 times by 5 and then split this up into square root of 16 times by the square root of 4 times by the square root of 5. As we know, the square root of 16 is equal to 4 and the square root of 4 is equal to 2. We get 4 times by 2 times by root 5, and our final answer is 8 root 5. We will now move on to addition. So in order to add surds, the surds must be the same. So in this example, 2 root 8 plus 3 root 32, we must somehow change root 8 and root 32 into the same number. And we can do this by using the multiplication rule as shown before. Root 8 can be written as root 4 times by 2. And root 32 can be written as root 16 times by 2. So on the left side we have 2 times by root 4 times 2 plus 3 times root 16 times by 2. We can split the left side up into 2 times root 4 times root 2, and then the right side will be split up into 3 times root 16 times by root 2. As we know, root 4 is equal to 2. We will have 2 times 2 times root 2. And as root 16 is equal to 4, we will have 3 times by 4 times root 2. So finally, on the left side, we will get 4 root 2, and on the right side, we will get 12 root 2. As the surds are the same now, we can add them together. So our final answer we will get is 16 root 2. So now let's move on to expanding brackets. I will do 2 examples with you guys. So the first example we will do is 2 root 5 minus 3 times by 4 plus root 5. So to expand this, we will firstly do 2 root 5 times by 4 and we get 8 root 5. Then we do 2 root 5 times by root 5, we get plus 2 root 25. Minus 3 times by 4 is minus 12. Minus 3 times by root 5 is minus 3 root 5. Now we can collect the like terms and simplify this. 8 root 5 minus 3 root 5 is 5 root 5. As root 25 is equal to 5, we will have plus 2 times by 5 and the minus 12 stays. So our final answer will be 5 root 5 plus 10 minus 12. So 5 root 5 minus 2. So now we'll move on to the next example. So we have 2 root 7 plus 2 times by 3 root 7 minus 1. 2 root 7 times 3 root 7 is 6 root 49. 2 root 7 times by minus 1 is minus 2 root 7. 2 times by 3 root 7 is plus 6 root 7. And finally, 2 times by minus 1 is minus 2. So 6 root 49 on the left side is 6 times by 7. Minus 2 root 7 plus 6 root 7 is plus 4 root 7. And finally, the minus 2 stays. As 6 times by 7 is equal to 42, so 42 minus 2 gives us 40, and the plus 4 root 7 finally. So that's our last answer. Rationalizing the denominator. This just means removing the surd from the denominator. So the first example that I will do is 6 over root 3. In order to remove the surd from the denominator, we will times both the top and the bottom by root 3. So on the top we do 6 times by root 3, and then on the bottom we do root 3 times by root 3. As we know, root 3 times by root 3 will give 3. We are left with 6 times root 3 on the top and 3 on the bottom. So our final answer will be 6 divided by 3, which is 2, so 2 root 3. The second example we will do is slightly harder. We have 2 terms on the bottom. In order to remove the surd from the bottom, we must time both the top and the bottom by the denominator. However, the sign flips. The reason we do this is to cancel out the surds, and you will see why. So firstly, on the top we will do 5 times by 2, so we get 10. 5 times by minus root 3, we get minus 5 root 3. Plus 2 root 3 times by 2 is plus 4 root 3. And then plus 2 root 3 times by minus root 3 is minus 6. On the bottom we will do 2 times by 2 gives us 4. 2 times minus root 3 gives us minus 2 root 3. Root 3 times by 2 is plus 2 root 3. And finally root 3 times by root 3 is minus 3. So when we simplify this, on the top 10 minus 6 gives us 4, and minus 5 root 3 plus 4 root 3 gives us minus root 3. On the bottom you can see the minus 2 root 3 and the plus 2 root 3 will cancel out, so we're just left with 4 minus 3, which gives us 1. So our final answer is 4 minus root 3 over 1.